Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel, focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Kill Team experience. If you enjoy this content and you want more, you can join our Patreon for as little as £3 a month. We'll get access to our Discord, patron priority questions, early access to videos including Kill Team bat reps, faction guides, and much more. If that's not for you, you can support just by hitting like, subscribe, and sharing these videos amongst the community of Kill Team enthusiasts local to you. Finally, if you're looking to buy some new miniatures or paints, you can buy them through Element Games, getting a 15% discount, and if you use our affiliate link below, you'll support the show as well. With all that said, let's get into it. Okay, so let's push into the next section, because there's two subjects that I think it's probably worth covering, which I struggle to fully cover, but we need to do it, and it's how to beat cults and how to beat beastmen. So let's start with how to beat cults. Connor, any ideas? Over to you.
I think you might have touched on something with commandos and possibly Star Striders when you discussed Alpha Strikes. Maybe if you can stop that mutant train in its tracks straight away, that might be the one weakness this team has. But what do you reckon?
Yeah, so what it's looking like is Alpha Strikes are your friend. If you can do some serious damage to them early enough, it's going to slow down their ability to score points. And if you can then capitalize on that, then you're in a good place. So teams like Commandos, I think, are able to do it, because if you can effectively max your points or get as close as possible and really VP deny them as much as possible on turn 1 and turn 2, then you can push for like a 4-4, 4-4-3-2, and that's enough. That's enough to give you a little bit of a marginal gain. And also potentially focus on killing some key models, because like if you could, for instance, kill their icon or their leader on turn 1, then that's really good. Things like the dynamite, being like a pretty high damage profile and being blast is really nice. So that's going to force them to potentially lose some key models that they don't want to lose. But like if you have anything in your tool set that looks like that, then that's a good way of doing it. So if you can slow down those mutations, you're in a good place. And this is kind of where I think you have to just focus on the game. Like, and it sounds really bad, but like you're going to have really high casualty rates, right? Like they are probably going to table you, and that's fine. You just have to play the objective, focus on the points, and just be like, how can I deny them 1 or 2 points? That's all it's going to come down to, right? Is like it's probably going to be a very, very close game, and you have to really, really, really focus on it. So if they're playing like Seek and Destroy, you got to start predicting their secondaries, right? If they're on like Route, you have to understand that they're basically only a melee team, right? So if you move all of your guys forwards, and this sounds like dumb, but like it kind of what it is, right? Like if you move aggressively forwards and stop them from scoring Route, then that's good for you. And so if you can then sort of like push onto their objectives and try and take the fight to them in a weird way, that's good for you. Because if you wait until turn 3 or turn 4, they're gonna table you. All right, so it's marginal gains. You got to play hard early, and you really have to try and get out the door swinging. And it's similar to when you're playing against Galapox, right? Like, they don't have any shooting, so you want to make sure that you have basically everyone engaged. Now, don't get caught out by the icon, because he does have a ridiculous flamer profile that's going to absolutely murder you. So spread out a little bit where possible, and don't let the icon get more than a double kill with his flamer, because that's gross. But try your hardest to push forwards and deny them as much ground as you can, or make it so that if they try to push into those middle objectives, it attrits a lot of their models. Play around a little bit with the APL manipulation if you can. So you try and put your comms buff models onto the objectives and try and hold them back. Or if you have like an ability like Terror or something similar where you -1 APL, use something like that as well. And I think that's probably where you have to try and do. So at the beginning, that's my baseline sort of advice, right? Next thing is going to be, and we said it already, use a chess clock, right? Your opponent has 15 models. They owe it to you to finish in their time as well, right? So I get that it's nice, and we want to try and be as friendly as possible as a community. But if you're bringing one of the strongest teams, you owe it to your opponent to finish in time. If you bring one of the strongest teams that are out there and you don't finish in time, that's not fair on your opponent anyway. And we talked above in the previous episode, check it out, listen to it all again, about how hopefully it's a really good ways of being able to play effectively within time. I think that's really useful for you able to do it. So, and it goes both ways, you can't just time delay yourself. That's no fun either. So those are my first two bits. Next thing I'd say, if you have the ability to turn off rerolls, right? If you have an ability to get rid of that relentless somehow, I'd say take it. Find a way to shut down that relentless, and it's going to reduce their killing effectiveness. Because if they're only hitting on 4s and they don't have any rerolls, that's going to hurt them. So try and look at a way of doing that. Another option that you have is early game. Have models that are way, way more lethal than they want to charge their models into. If you have a model that will immediately kill a mutant and they can't survive melee with you, they can't get torment, or they can't get a devotee into a mutant, etc., etc. So if you can really outperform in melee, then you can do that as well. So I think those are my main bits. So just to sort of like roll back and just go through it again. Can you alpha strike? If you can, focus on those key models. Like that leader, removing that model early is going to buy you so much later on. Can you make an early points rush? Can you get VP before? Like on loot, I think it's actually quite achievable to really pressure your opponent by getting those VPs early. And remember, even on turning point 3, just snagging a couple of VPs rather than killing is going to help you out. Predict those secondaries where you can, right? If they're playing Seek and Destroy, focus on killing their Rob and Ransack target. Focus on denying them eliminate guards. Focus on moving forward. So like maybe you can move off of the objective at the end of the turn and you don't have a target for eliminate guards. That's a good way of doing it. Try and make those marginal gains wherever you can, because they are probably going to table you. Use maximum engage, shoot hard, shoot early, really try and force that damage through. Don't get carried away with killing though. Again, it is play the objective. Don't be triggered when it's going wrong, and go with that. I think that's kind of like my main advice, Conor. Is there anything that you think I've missed on that, or anything that you would like to add in?
No, I think that's good sound advice, and I think you've reflected on what the tournament's doing at the minute and how that feeds into the strategy.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan. This has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.